Hi, fourth graders. How are you guys doing? All right, today is Wednesday the 17th. Hope you had your green on so you didn't get pinched. And we started off our day in math reviewing angle measurements. And let me grab my book here. And we headed over to 14.5. And we looked at page 514. Get this all set up. All right, so here are the problems that we went over. We went over number 5. And so number 5 says that Austin cut, this is 14.5 if you're using the online. All right, so it says Austin cuts a triangle out of some scrap wood as shown, and the angle measure of XYZ is given. What is the angle measure of XYW? So here you have this XYZ, which is 45 degrees, and you're missing this other part. So we started building our box and filling in the things that we have. So we knew that because this is a straight angle, and we took it out of the shape and drew it here. So because this is a straight angle, we knew our hole was 180. We saw that one part was 45. So our missing part, we had to subtract 180 minus 45, and we got our 135. And then on this number 6 here, we had Shamika wants to cut a rectangle out of the piece of fabric shown. What is X? So here, same thing, but this time we notice that one of these parts is 90 degrees, so we plugged that into our box. We saw that the entire thing, see how this little rainbow right here shows the whole part at B is 112, so that was our whole. And so here we had to subtract the 90 degrees to get our unknown, the X right there. All right, we skip down to 8, and this says, what's the measure? We've got this unknown angle measurement here. So again, when you only have one number given to you, you need at least 2. So if it only gives you 1, go on the hunt and see, is there a little box there showing that this is 90 degrees? Sure enough, there is. So we went ahead and put 90 as our whole. Or you're looking for those straight angles, like in the above problems where you had the straight line showing that that's 80 degrees. So these where it's only giving you one number, be on the lookout for those 90s and those 180s, those right angles and those straight angles. So here you had 90, so we had to add, or we had to add 22 in this part. So to find that missing part, we had to subtract, and then we got 68, and then we just checked it there. All right, so your independent work is in Google Classroom under classwork. Go to Monday through Friday math recording sheet. And we did the even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And that's on page 515 and 516. So even numbers, so that's everything in the right-hand column on page 515, everything in the right-hand column on page 516. The other thing we did in math today is we went here to this unknown angles review. And in here, all right, so we went over this, and so there's a couple formulas on here. So instead of using the box, I just wrote it out. So finding unknown angles, you've got your part whole. So you can either have part plus a part, which equals the whole, and that's that blue example right here. Or you can start with a whole and one part, and you're trying to find that missing part. So you would take your whole, subtract the part you know, and you're left with the missing part. That's the red example here. So that's if you have 2 parts. We've also seen on some where we have more than one part. So here's an example where the whole is broken into 3 pieces. So here, same idea. You're going to take all those parts, add them together, and you get your whole. So that's this red example right here. So 70 plus 45 plus 65. That gives you your whole. Or sometimes you are given two parts, but you're missing the part and you have the whole. So you need to combine. So we're going to combine the 70 and 45. We got 115. Then you go and subtract that from the whole and you get 65. So here, this is, I was showing the kids how this is kind of an introduction to algebra because you are finding that unknown measurement. So on that last problem, you, like I said, you would combine the parts and then subtract the 115 from 180, and that shows you what that missing piece would be. So we reviewed that. And then for reading today, we finished our Jeopardy game, and the boys had won. And then we did a final Jeopardy where we bid some extra points, and the girls ended up bidding, and they ended up outbidding, so they ended up pulling ahead. So we had fun finishing up our Jeopardy game. And then we continued with our passage that we've been reading. So in Seesaw, you have, let's see, week 27 reading. Open that up. All right, so we read passage 1, we read passage 2, we did the questions for passage 1, the questions for passage 2. So today we were looking at passage 1 and 2. So these are things that you're going to use both stories. So the one about the bats, the one about the bees, and you're comparing things that they both have in common. So look here, both. They've got that in bold there. And then you're also talking about how they're different and things that how they're similar. So make sure you're going back and looking at the correct sections on those. Then, while I've got this open, later on in the day, where is it? Right here. We did the Wild Hogs of Texas, so we'll finish this up tomorrow, and or this is due Friday, so we'll finish this up throughout the week. But we went ahead and got started reading about the Wild Hogs of Texas. So this is going to be a graded assignment. So students worked on this independently, and then it starts off with questions 1 and 2 here, and goes down to 9 at the bottom. All right, so you can draft that. I'm going to put right here for tomorrow, finish the Wild Hogs of Texas passage Seesaw. All right, so we'll remember to get that finished. All right, so tomorrow for reading, remember we have our benchmark. So we also did some kind of goal, like goal setting, where we looked at our last, our scores from the last one and talked about, how we can show growth and show improvement on this one. In writing, we did our conclusions head-to-head for our writing March Madness that we're doing. So we finished that up and we had our final winner. And then in Seesaw, we went to activities and we went to writing. Come on. All right, so today we had worked on these for a couple days, so we kind of stopped and came back together and checked to see how we were doing, and make sure you uncover. There's some boxes over to the side. They have a colored box over them. You can reveal those for some help. So make sure you check out those. So we went over 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and we stopped there. So make sure you've got those marked correctly. And you can look at the things on the side. They go with what the answer is for a little explanation. But if you still need some help understanding why a certain answer is the way it is, just let me know. I'll be glad to help. Draft that. All right, then. All right, in science, well, actually, we came back from recess a little bit, about 5 minutes early. And during part of our science time, we did a virtual field trip with a lady. Her name is Molly, and she is one of the people that runs the podcast Brains On. So we got to hear from her for part of science. And then for the remaining part, we went, so we didn't get to the brain pop part. Let me see. We'll put this over here. All right, so the measuring, we did some practice with this website. So this was a video that we watched first, and then this website right here, the link is on Google Classroom. And so you can click on Wednesday Science Measuring Practice, open this up, and the different sections are over here on the side, so make sure you click the correct one. We went to the thermometer first, and so we talked about it, and then you go to, there's some like a self-checking little quiz right here. This doesn't get turned into me, it's just for practice. So click this here, and then there's also one about triple beam balance. So you can go over this on how to read one. And then if you go to the link underneath the photo, reading a triple beam balance, there's a little interactive tutorial that you can go through there for some practice on how you read them. And then once you're done with that, you can just exit out, and then you can just turn this in to show me, yes, I did that practice. And then in the agenda, if you go down for social studies, we did today's article. And we were talking about, well, we brought this up yesterday about how we had all these big booms with the railroads. So railroads are coming in, they're being built, and you had a lot of boom in different industries. And you had, we talked about lots of booms with people coming into Texas from different places. And so today we were talking about people that came over from China, and they were trying to escape how life was pretty rough at that time in China. And so they were coming in and hearing about the United States and hearing about how things sounded better. So people were trying to find better jobs and things like that. So we have all these jobs with the railroads because we're building mile after mile. And however, when they came here and did work here, the conditions still weren't the greatest. So we were reading about kind of their experience with the article today and answered a couple questions in Google Classroom. So go to Monday through Friday social studies where it says railroads, and make sure you've got Monday's page should be complete, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. So make sure you're keeping up with that. And then also make sure you're checking the comments, because I've gone in and I've left some comments about some things to double check. So make sure you look over those. And then on the agenda, there's a video that we watched here, and then everybody did the Google Doc on their own. So you can click on that, and you can watch and read some more information about railroads being built. And then also, when you've got all these people coming in, think about it. They're not just leaving all of their traditions and all of their culture and everything that makes up them in their country where they're coming from. They're bringing all that with them. So we had a lot of cultural contributions as people come in from other countries. So that was what this video was focusing on there. And all right, benchmark review, we did that. We went over and did some, that's when we did the math practice with the seesaw review. And I think that is it. So everybody had music today, so make sure you get your music assignment done if you have one. And let me make sure. All right, so tomorrow, reading benchmark, we're starting 8 o'clock sharp. So please make sure directions start at that time. Please make sure you are on time. Please make sure you've had breakfast. You are ready to go. This is your last benchmark of 4th grade. So this is the final. This is for you to really show what you've learned this year and how much you've grown. Your last test was in November, which was quite a few months ago. So really show, how great you've been doing. So I will see you guys in the morning, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.